You know, I just watched one of the most ridiculous videos I've ever seen on YouTube from a person who actually had I would consider to have a qualified opinion, and that was Yankee Marshall. Why he doesn't promote firearm training. Now, everybody's going to have a favorite trainer out there. I understand. You know, some of my favorites out there had been Jeff Cooper and Masad Ayub. I actually never attended any of their particular courses. I attended courses that were taught usually by people that were relatively local to me where I've been living at the time. Under those circumstances, I also would advocate going to more than one trainer. Get different perspectives on some of this stuff from professionals, from people who do this. Get different perspectives on it and do this. It's a big deal. I mean, I understand if people want to have a pistol on a nightstand or shit hit the fan, it's buried, you know, you don't really get that stuff out. Then you talk about people who might carry on a regular basis. Okay, why? What's the story? What's realistic? All that. You know, I own a device which I keep in my I keep in a vehicle. I keep it in a vehicle for circumstances where somebody's life is in danger, and that's the device is called the defibrillator. To own a defibrillator in many states requires certain levels of certification. In the state where I live, it does not. But I went ahead and got the training and certification anyway in a state that I don't live in. And that's because I wanted to be competent in the use of the device. It's just a personal responsibility thing. It's not required. Okay, it's not required, but I did it. When I was in the Marine Corps, I qualified on rifles and machine guns. I actually never qualified on a pistol while I was in the Marine Corps. I actually went and took civilian classes for that because I wanted to have the competence and qualification for that. When I did that, the NCOs and officers in my unit were angry and jealous and spiteful because they felt that I had jumped rank by getting qualified with a handgun outside the chain of command, outside training. There had to be something wrong with it. It was outside. It offended their sense of superiority. So I understood that, and I basically said, you know, screw them. I'm going to go get more training. And I did. And it was held against me. Believe it or not, it was held against me. They just wanted PT, don't do anything but regular PT. I went and got more training. I did martial arts. Believe it or not, it was like they started giving me a threat profile. And when people wanted to like beat me up, you know, let's pick on the private type stuff, and they're like, hey, wait, this guy's, you know, he's taking martial arts out in town. He's a tough guy. Well, let's go get 2 or 3 people then. You know, they always want to one up that. When I was seeking employment in law enforcement, I went and got a lot more training because I was also working in security, in executive security, bodyguard. Now, this was not a step up from law enforcement. This was like, you're not good enough, but you can do this other work type stuff when I was doing it at the time. But one of the things was, from a professional standpoint, I always made sure to have levels of training that were above my status. And when or if a situation would come up, I felt my opinion is qualified. My qualification to make certain decisions under stressful circumstances, I feel are qualified to do that. It is far beyond common sense. Now, is that far beyond common sense because I'm some kind of smarter than average guy? No. Or, well, only partially. Because there's other people who would look at my name, my profile, things in my history, would say that I'm a bad judgment person, that I'm damaged goods, that I'm no good, I'm somebody you should avoid because I've done bad things at some point. Well, what's interesting is they wouldn't dispute my qualifications because of my training. They try to dispute my judgment, and then when it goes to court, in front of a jury, in front of somebody who has all of the relevant facts, and not some little backroom bullshit, well, then things work a little differently on that. Under no circumstances would I tell somebody that common sense is as good as or better than training. It's not. There's no fucking way. Training is always a good thing. Even if you choose to say, you know, this instructor was full of crap, he bored me, lectures were too long, the range time was too short, it sucks. But you know what? You learned what a dumbass instructor is like. Okay? Same thing happens when it's the flip side. You go to a course, these guys are running and gunning at the range all day long, they're ex-soldiers, they're ex-commandos, and they won't tell you how to beat a case in court. You'll never learn how to beat a case in court with these guys. They don't have a fucking clue. That's why their buddies who are in Blackwater in Iraq are all getting prosecuted right now. Okay? And the thing is, law enforcement is a fucking club. It really is. It's not competent-based. No, it's not. I'm saying it right now. It's not competence-based. And it is not character-based. We fucking know that. Okay? It's based on legal mechanisms. It's based on affirmative action hiring processes. It's based on buddy programs. It's based on who kissed up at the right interview. It's based on luck. Okay? Or who wants that career bad enough to sell their soul for it. There was a point when I just said, no, I'm not selling my soul that much for that kind of a career. They're not going to pay me enough to do what I saw these other guys doing, because I believe in a heaven and a hell. And I've had a little taste of hell. I didn't like it. Okay? The reality is, a lot of these people that are so-called professionals, they relish it. It's reality. Other ones are simply, they're a body in a uniform. The qualifications are kind of so-so. And so somebody looks at these types that are just a body in a uniform, and they say, you know, they're really no better than a member of the general public. They went and they stood in a line and they qualified, and that's that. Listen, I don't care if I lose subscribers over this, okay? You ought to get training. If you're going to be a gun person, get some fucking training.